Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We're on page 139. So yesterday we spoke about the test of wealth. We spoke about three attitudes, three mistakes that people make about their wealth. Spoke about it at great length. As I mentioned, the video recordings are going to be coming available, and you'll be able to go back and hear that again if you'd like to. Today, we speak about one of those mistakes, which is the issue of the wealthy benefactor making the mistake of seeking wealth for honor. Well, there it was about getting honor from giving tzedakah, but let's see what it says over here. Page 139 at the bottom of the page. There are some groups of people whose efforts to acquire and increase their wealth are solely due to their love of honor, that they think they will receive from people as a result of their wealth. And so that they can make a name for themselves. You know anyone like that? Wait, don't answer that question.
Unfortunately, I don't know anybody like that.
Baruch Hashem. Anyway, there's some people that think that if they have more money, they'll get more honor. And that motivates them to go out and seek more money. They want respect. No amount of money is ever enough for them. It's a great question, by the way. How much money is enough? How much money is enough? No amount of money is ever enough for these people because they think that the more money they have, the more honor they will receive. This foolishness of theirs stems from their lack of understanding regarding the true cause of what makes a person deserving honor in this world and in the world to come. They don't even know what real honor is. The cause for this mistake of theirs is that they see how the masses honor wealthy people. The masses honor for the wealthy is born out of a hope that they will benefit from what the wealthy have and that they will receive some of the wealth that is in their hands. Were the masses to think deeply into the matter and understand that the wealthy never have the ability nor the power to give or withhold money to anyone other than the one for whom it has been decreed by the Creator, they would not rely on anyone else other than God to provide for them. Right? The masses are making a big mistake. As we've already discussed at great length, they think that if you kiss up to the wealthy, you'll do better. They don't realize that you get what Hashem wants you to have. So there's no point in kissing up to the wealthy. But they don't really honor the wealthy. No person would be worthy of their honor except for one who has been distinguished by the Creator with praiseworthy character traits, for which he is worthy to be honored by the Creator, may he be exalted. So who is truly honorable? Someone who Hashem honors. As it is written in Samuel, for those who honor me, I will honor them. Ki mechabdai achabeit. And we read that in Pirkei Avos, Ethics of Our Fathers. Since the masses are foolish in their honoring of the wealthy, thinking that the latter are deserving of their honor, the Creator adds to their foolishness when it comes to pursuit of their desires. So here comes a very interesting thing. Hashem keeps, if you choose the fast, so then God allows the illusion to continue. The Creator adds to their foolishness when it comes to pursuit of their desires. And throughout their lifetimes, they need to overindulge in strenuous work in order to obtain their wealth. Look at the bottom of the page where there's a commentary here. Foolishness in their honoring of their wealthy, thinking that the latter are deserving of honor. So I was thinking about this, and it's over here, it's written out very nicely. The Talmud says that Rabbi Yehuda the Nasi would honor the wealthy, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, Rabbi Yehuda the prince. So here we are slamming people for honoring wealthy people. And yet the Talmud itself says that Rabbi Yehuda was Mechabed Ashirim. So what's the answer? What is the meaning of this? What right of honor do the wealthy have? If a person understands the concept of divine providence, that every detail is from God, then this becomes readily understood. So here the Rebbe explains, this is from a letter of the Rebbe explaining why Rabbi Yehuda would be Mechabed Ashirim, would honor the wealthy. Rabbi Yehuda would say, if someone is wealthy, it shows that God not only chose him to do good in his world, but also gave him the ability to do so. Rabbi Yehuda was revealing the energy found within the rich, arousing them to fulfill their God-given mission. So you honor the wealthy. Rabbi Yehuda would honor the wealthy in order to encourage the wealthy to use the trust they were given by God to do good in this world. In other words, to show them that their wealth was an entrustment to them by God for the benefit of others. The Rebbe explains the same is true about any talent. If God gives a person a talent, then it must be utilized to its fullest, because that is where the person will find his divine mission. And it continues furthermore, despite a very probable outcome that a wealthy person will succumb to the evil inclination, because the test of wealth is very difficult, the person who withstood it all and fulfilled his mission as God's messenger to support the impoverished, for God chose him to be his messenger, although he could have given them directly, is in itself a reason that warrants true honor. Therefore, Rabbi Yehuda afforded the rich true honor, the rich this honor. He honored them because of what they could be and because of what they did, not because they had money. But the masses that honor the wealthy, thinking, Rabbi Yehuda himself was very wealthy. The masses that honor the wealthy, thinking they're going to get more from them, by kissing up to them, are delusional, because everything comes from Hashem. Now, the other thing, these same kinds of people break their backs on work way beyond what they need to do. As we've already established, you can just choose something that you're suited for and make a vessel, and God will give you what you need. But once you living in this delusional life where you think that by giving too much credit to the pipelines, where you overemphasize the means or the channels rather than the source of the blessing, you're finished. So these same masses, when it comes to the pursuit of their desires and throughout their lifetimes, they need to overindulge in strenuous work in order to obtain their wealth, because they're engaging in this whole farce. They're engaging in this whole farce. And if you give merit to if you put your head if you decide that you're going to live according to this farce, so God says, okay, let's see where it takes you. Those, though, who trust in Hashem and do what they need to, don't have to deal with all the challenges that come along with this system, which isn't even real. There's very deep psychology over here. If you believe that you're stuck in a system that works a certain way, then you are stuck in that system. Because you created your reality. But if you realize the truth that you're not stuck in that system, then you're free of it. They thereby neglect their obligations the Creator has imposed upon them. They also neglect to thank God for His goodness that He gives them. Were they to do so, they would be without a doubt far more successful in obtaining their desires. As the verse says in Proverbs, in reference to the Torah, Length of days is in its right hand, in its left are riches and honor, as it says, and wealth and honor are from before you. In other words, if you put your trust in Hashem and you learn Torah and do mitzvahs and realize that you have to make a vessel in this world because Hashem has asked us to make a vessel in this world, but we're not stuck in the system of all the rules of how the world works, because the rules of how the world works are not really real. But you have to make a channel, so you make a channel. So then you get from Hashem incredible blessings and you don't have to worry about it. But if you think you have to put your head into that you're stuck inside a false system, so then you are. Then you have to break your back in terms of trying to make a living, and you never know what you're going to get the next day. Any questions or comments? Okay, we now continue and explain it's not your ingenuity, it's God's. Among those who seek wealth, there are those who obtain all their desires through one of the various means of obtaining a livelihood that we mentioned above. While there are others who obtain their desires through an inheritance or the like. That person thinks that it's the means of livelihood or the inheritance that made him wealthy, and without them, he would not have obtained any money at all. He praises the means and not God. Right? Same thing. Same theme. This man is similar to a person, now we use an analogy, for people that think that the means is more important than the source of the blessings. This man is similar to a person traveling in the desert who becomes dehydrated and finds bitter water in a well, and he greatly rejoices at finding the water and quenches his thirst with it. However, as he journeys a little further, he finds a spring that is flowing with sweet water. He is distressed that he previously drank the bitter water and quenched his thirst with it. If somebody trusts had told him that he would later find sweet water, he would have certainly not put himself through the pain of drinking the bitter water. Similarly, the wealthy person whose wealth reached him through a particular means that involved much toil, were to he have stopped himself from engaging in that particular means, he would have managed to obtain his wealth through different, easier means, as explained earlier. As it says, for with the Lord there is no limitation to save it with money or with few. Now, we're not against hard work over here, as we've explained at great length. When do you know you're working too hard? When do you know you're working too hard? When it's affecting your capacity to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. When it's affecting your capacity to learn Torah and do mitzvahs, now, a certain amount of work is appropriate, as we've discussed. It's appropriate to work. We're not saying to sit and learn all day and think that Hashem is going to give you blessings and just it's all going to come from above. There is a place for that, but that's a very select few that are supposed to do this. Most people have to engage in Torah, in derech eretz Torah with work. But how much work? How much work is appropriate and how much is too much? You're working too hard. You become a workaholic. People become addicted to their work. And they're living in a meshuggah life. How much work is too much? So in order to make money, you don't need to work too much. That's for sure. We've already established. Hashem will give you what you need. So you have to have a balanced life. A person has to have a balanced life, a life that allows them to do what they need to do, which is to learn Torah and do mitzvahs and spend time with their family, doing productive things. Right? There's no mitzvah to sit at home and watch television with your children. In fact, it's not a good idea. But how much work, right? As much that allows you to learn Torah, You set your schedule for all your Torah learning and your minyanim that you're going to go to shul, and you make sure you're not working on Shabbos or Yom Tov for doing all the things that the Torah says. Now you figured out, okay, now I have 8 hours a day or whatever it is to make a living. And you work within that. And if somebody tells you, but you'll never make a lot of money if you work that way, you tell them nonsense. Firstly, I'll make enough money to live, which is all I need. All I need is to be able to eat and drink and support my family in a basic lifestyle, because everything else is a waste of time. And the most important thing is to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. I've already got everything I need. And if Hashem wants me to have more, don't worry about it. Hashem has many, many ways to send me more. So it's a totally different attitude to work, to the way the world tells us we should have a concept of money. It's all from Hashem anyway. As it says, for with the Lord there is no limitation to save with many or with few. Any questions or comments? It's very interesting. When my father, I've told you the story before, but when my father was getting married, he had a few different choices of paths in front of him. One of them was to continue studying and eventually become a rabbi. Another choice was to go to law school and become a lawyer. The one he least wanted to do was to become a lawyer. But his mother wanted him to do it, and he wrote to the Rebbe asking the Rebbe about various different options. And about this choice of becoming a lawyer, the Rebbe circled it, and the Rebbe wrote, Zu kadima, this one first, Ubitnai sheyekayim kvis itim b'Torah, on condition that he will keep fixed times to study Torah. Later, the Rebbe told my father that he should use his profession as a lawyer to spread Yiddishkeit. So clearly, what the Rebbe had in mind was a Chassidish, Lubavitcher lawyer. At that time, there weren't too many of them, especially not in South Africa. He wanted someone who's a lawyer with a beard, who learns Torah and does this, to spread Yiddishkeit in that way. But it's very interesting. Firstly, it wasn't about money. Either side of this, it wasn't about money. Secondly, the Rebbe was very clear. Before you become a lawyer, before you figure out your legal schedule, you figure out your time to learn Torah. Your shiurim come first. Your Torah learning comes first.
Rabbi Mendele.
I'm listening, Elaine.
So I read something also, and here's my story, where a woman went to the Rebbe to ask what she should be. She wanted to become a secretary or something. It was back in the, 60s. And he said, that's what you do. That's not who you are.
Exactly. Very good. You have to have an occupation, because you have to have an occupation. Well, what you are is a Torah learner, is a Yid, is a mensch. I remember when I was a little boy, I was 13 years old. The rabbi asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know what I said, a fireman probably. He said, I didn't ask you what you want to do. I said, what do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? It's a very big lesson for me as a kid. gave me the capacity to tell them what I do and who I am. It's a big difference. So what here we got attitudes for how much should you work? Well, first you set your times to learn Torah. You set your times to go to shul. You set your times, this is all these things. And then afterwards you fill in the remaining time with some time at work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. Let's take a pause over here to be continued. The next one is a very interesting one, reflections on financial struggles. We will get to that soon.